across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
There you are. Good evening. I'm back, by the way. Last night, I'm sure you all really missed me. There was no big deal, a lot of speculation. No, what's Kevin doing off now? I was at Piers Morgan's book launch, where I took my wife. We've been friends at Piers for many a long year, too long. And I looked around, I lost my wife. I said, where is she? She's locked in animated conversation with former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. They were both talking for about 12... What are they talking about? 20 minutes it went on. I think they both bonded over their lack of height. You know what it's like. Anyway, I digress. Good evening and welcome to the Political Asylum right here on Talk all the way to 10 o'clock. Stand by for 3 hours of breaking news, challenging views and topical debate. Get on the show, get on the phone and call me on 0344 499 1000, or you can WhatsApp voice note me on the same number and I promise to play your message out. It is Thursday, October the 23rd. Here's what's coming up. After this show's exclusive report on the primary school to the west of London besieged by migrants on a daily basis and the passionate protest by worried parents, a similar situation is unfolding in Southampton. In a little while, I'll talk to a concerned mum and dad set to stage a demonstration this coming weekend amid growing fears over an asylum seeker hotel's close proximity to their children's school. There are reports that the police have even issued local women with rape alarms. The women have taken to carrying rape alarms as safety on the streets becomes more and more the burning issue of the migrant crisis and these turbulent times. I fear this is a story that is unfolding all over the country. So last week we did the Cherry Lane Primary School in West Drayton, it's to the west of London. It was a big Holiday Inn. 600 rooms, almost overshadowing the primary school. The migrants, the asylum seekers walk underneath this underpass underneath the M4 and come out right by the primary school where they hang around and mill around. So that was last week. This week there's a similar protest demonstration by parents and worried locals in Southampton in Hampshire. What do you make of all this, folks? Is this a growing problem? 0344 499 1000. Meanwhile, in Surrey, a Syrian seeker convicted of 3 assaults with a history of sexually attacking women has walked free from court after a ludicrously lenient sentence of 6 months prison suspended for 2 years. In other words, nothing. Suspended sentences, they're ridiculous. Why do we bother with them? You're sent to jail for 2 years, suspended for 6 months. That means they don't go to jail. What is the point of this? Honestly, it's a joke. This guy's victims, though, as you can imagine, are furious. We'll read you out at least one of their victim statements that was held yesterday in Staines Magistrates Court in Surrey. That, again, is to the west of London. Now, you know, in terms of this Syrian asylum seeker who's just been let off, is that another case of two-tiered justice, a kind of favouritism towards foreigners who break into our country, who break into Britain illegally and then expect to stay? What do you think? 0344 499 1000. Also tonight, the 4 courageous victims of the rape gang scandal who dramatically quit the public inquiry have written to Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood to say they're ready to rejoin the process, but only on one basis. That the so-called safeguarding minister, Jess Phillips, resigns or is sacked. The problem there is that Starmer has just pledged his full confidence in her. So she'll be gone pretty soon. Ask Angela Rayner and Peter Mandelson, who also received the Prime Minister's kiss of death backing. 0344 499 1000. Should Phillips walk the plank? Should she go? She seems very angry about all this, very irritated, rather bored. She effectively called some of the victims liars, because the victims, well, we spoke to Ellie Reynolds the other night, lovely girl from Barrow-in-Furness, a victim of this awful rape gang scandal. She revealed that the reason these victims have quit the process, they were on what was going to be the public inquiry's victims panel. The reason they've quit is they kept saying, well, look, we want to point the finger at who's responsible for this. These gangs were, and are indeed, mostly Muslim men of Pakistani heritage. And they're oh, no, we're going to widen the remit. In other words, it's Labour shying away from, pointing the finger at Muslims. The Islamic community could be Islamophobia. They need the Muslim vote. That's why they've left. Now, Jess Phillips will play you the video in Parliament yesterday in the day. Was just furious. And oh, no, that's absolutely not true. In other words, there we have it. The minister responsible for the safeguarding of women calling the victims of the rape gang inquiry liars. Liars. They are seething and they will not rejoin the inquiry until Jess Phillips goes. She's let herself down, this woman. She's shamed herself. What do you think? 03444991000. By the way, the government has just announced it's still having trouble finding a chairperson to preside over this long-delayed public inquiry. They think it'll take them months. They've already taken 5 months. Now it's going to take 5 months more. Are they just kicking the can down the road on an inquiry that they've never wanted to have? Why do Labour politicians seem to care so little about the vulnerable victims of child sexual abuse? What is that about? 03444991000. Also tonight, more foreign aid madness, as it is revealed that the UK gave Pakistan, wait for it, £111 million for a contraception scheme. That's an awful lot of condoms, isn't it, folks? That's what it was for, condoms. £111 million worth. Am I missing something here, or is that absolutely mad, insane? 03444991000. Foreign aid, eh? Why don't we just stop it? Also, on the topic of Labour's generosity, Starmer has pledged a further £10 million to support Britain's mosques and, of course, was caught on film showcasing his selflessness with our money. This largesse is to protect Muslims, apparently, from hate crimes. 03444991000. Also on tonight's show, our new Dial-A-Dame slot that we're kind of nicknaming it as Reform UK's Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, Dame Andrea Jenkins, takes your phone calls. Call Andrea on 03444991000. She's ready to take any inquiries. Plus, Angela Rayner's nauseating resignation speech in the Commons, hailing herself as a deeply moral working-class hero, not apologising for dodging stamp duty and then lying to try to wriggle her way out of trouble. A packed house of Labour lackeys, including the Cabinet, cheering the disgraced former Deputy Prime Minister as if she's done nothing wrong. Low-life Westminster at its very lowest. Aren't you sick of preening politicians and their warped moral values? 03444 499 and finally Royal Guru Kinsey Schofield on what we think will be, in about 3/4 of an hour, a very big royal announcement. We suspect, I'm not confirming, it's just speculation, it could be that they finally succeeded in getting Prince Andrew, no longer the Duke of York, to agree to move out of Royal Lodge, his massive mansion, 35 bedrooms, I think it is, near Windsor Castle in Windsor Great Park, for which he has not paid a penny in rent for 22 years. We think it could be that, but we're not sure. But we are assured at around about 8 o'clock there will be a big royal announcement. So, as luck would have it, Kinsey will be joining us later in the show, and we'll talk to her about that. But of course, bring you that announcement as it happens. Breaking news. All that and so much more. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Thursday night together. And I was with him on Sunday night and spoke to him 2 days ago. We're never apart these days. It is my Thursday friend, Dr. Philip Kisley from the New Culture Forum. Welcome.
Hi, Kev. It's great to be here again.
Always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. That was good. We were at this. It's called the Battle of Ideas, big forum where people come together from all over the country in Westminster on Saturday, and we hosted a panel, about a couple of 300 people there. Very good, wasn't it?
It was excellent.
Yeah.
It was real fun.
Yeah. So good to have you in the studio. Now, before you and I discuss some of the issues of the day, I want to. We're going to go across to two parents in the Southampton area. They have organised a big demonstration, a protest, similar to the one we covered, Samara Gill, my producer and now ace reporter, covered last Saturday in West London, near West Drayton, the hotel I was telling you about. This weekend there's going to be a similar demonstration down near Southampton, and we're going to talk now to two parents who are worried about this issue that I'm talking about. They're worried about the close proximity to their children's school of local asylum seeker hotels. So a warm welcome to the show to Southampton parents, Carly Fisher and Craig Jones. Hello, Carly. Hello, Craig.
Hello.
Hiya, how you doing, Kevin?
Yeah, it's good to see you both. Well, tell us, first of all, it's the Southampton area. You're going to have this protest on Saturday. Tell us, first of all, which is the school that you're worried about? Which is the actual hotel you're worried about?
So the hotel in the area is the Highfield House Hotel now. There was a couple being used to house migrants, but it's only down to one at the moment. Reported about 300 guests in there.
Yeah.
Apparently, obviously that's not confirmed, but that's what we've been told. We're part of a group, the Southampton Patriots. We've been consecutively protesting now outside this hotel for about 16 weeks. There's been a lot of activity within the community from the guys that live in this hotel. There isn't any women, there isn't any children in there like the government try and make out. You know.
So Craig, they're the classic. What the common phrase seems to be young men of military age. I think the more and more we cover this story, a more apposite description of them will be young men of sexually active age. This is the problem. We've got Carly back. You're in frame now, Carly. I saw you going in and out. I understand, Carly, that the local police in Hampshire have been offering local women, if they want them, rape alarms because of the safety on the streets issue. I mean, how are you feeling about, yourself as a woman, your kids? How are you feeling about safety on the streets around the Highfield Hotel?
I think a lot of women, they feel very vulnerable. We're hearing stories, they don't make the news, they can't be all made up, but it appears that there's a lot of truth that is hidden. But when you're out on the street and you're hearing the stories, you know that they're real. You can hear the fear, you can see people are worried. It takes a lot to get out there. We give up our time, we go out and, we're representing our area. That's what we're trying to do.
So you got kids, Carly, and you have kids as well, Craig, yeah?
Yeah, I've got 6. I've got 4 girls, 2 boys.
And Carly?
I've got 2 girls.
And are they at the school that's close to this hotel?
Mine aren't, no.
Yours, Carly?
No, so my girls are grown up,
Okay.
a bit older.
Yeah.
But they are of the age that it appears they'll be out walking the streets on their own. If anything's going to happen, I think it's more likely to be happening to those sort of age ranges.
And from this Highfield House Hotel, you say there's about 300, you reckon about 300 people in there or something. And, I mean, the issue always is, isn't it, that these are young men and they're not allowed to work, so they've got nothing to do. And they mill around the streets, and kids especially, and I think women, feel rather threatened. Would that be your assessment?
Ultimately, Kevin, these are undocumented men coming into our country that no one knows anything about. We don't know their name, we don't know their age, we don't even know why they are fleeing their countries. It's only what they're telling people when they get into here.
Yeah.
Who knows who they are? They could be criminals running away from persecution.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
More likely they are. Let's be real.
We don't know. They come into the country, we put them in a nice hotel, and we don't know anything about them. So far, Carly, have things been okay? Have there been any particular incidents? Because we're going to cover in a minute a story of a guy in Surrey who has got a track record of attacking women. He's just been done for 3 assaults, and he's walked free from court. He's a Syrian asylum seeker staying at the local asylum seeker hotel. He didn't even get sent to jail. Have you had any incidents that would lead you to be concerned and worried?
Yeah, I believe Craig would probably know more than me, but I believe there's been a few reports locally. But again, nothing makes the news. What I do see is we stand there and try to raise awareness, and we seem to be shouted down by feminists. Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest thing. I don't understand. We're actually trying to protect women. I don't get it.
Yeah. And so the local police, we've heard reports that the local police have been offering local women rape alarms, which, if you think about it, is pretty damn shocking. You know, that the police are aware that it could be dangerous for women and are giving them rape alarms. That's extraordinary.
So, Kevin, where I'm the organizer or the founder of the Southampton Patriots, it's not just about the protesting. We're doing a lot of stuff in the community now, and right next door to the Highfield House Hotel, there's a over 60s like accommodation block over that court, and I'm in daily constant communication with the ladies that are in there, and videos from them, pictures of what's going on in and around the hotel. They're being followed. One of the ladies has actually got a camera fitted to her mobility scooter. She's been followed that many times.
So these are old. This is a old person's home, yeah.
It's an over 50s. It's an over 50s. Okay. So it's a assisted living. So they have carers come in every now and again. They're of sound mind. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, sure.
You know, but they're not obviously mobile. They're on mobility scooters. 11, 12 o'clock at night, you've got these residents of the lovely hotel coming out, staring through their windows, just literally looking through their windows.
Old ladies. I say old ladies. I'm being rude here. I mean, ladies of a certain age.
I'm coming to a point now. I've got so much evidence of reports and crime reference numbers from this one block of flats, and the police, the council, even the housing association weren't doing anything until we made a fuss just to get the lights fixed on the outside of the building. We've just come together as a community, and within the Southampton Patriots, we've just raised funds to put cameras up for them.
Oh, wow.
That's not our responsibility. Yeah. That should be the housing association or the council or the police helping out. Yeah. But it's not. That's the concerned residents of Southampton helping others out.
And Carly, as I said earlier, I think a growing issue is the close proximity of asylum seeker hotels to schools in particular. Tell us about that. Is this Highfield, what's it called, the Highfield House Hotel, is that close to many schools in the area?
Yeah, so we've got a number of schools and 2 universities. There's a college up the road, not very far away. And it turns out that Southampton is one of actually the worst places to live for violent crime, which I find outrageous.
Yeah, it's not what you'd expect, is it? Well, listen, Carly, before you go, tell us about your demonstration, your protest. This is on Sunday at 1 p.m. Is that outside the Highfield House Hotel?
So yes, it starts
Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Peaceful.
So the guys have been down there week in, week out, protesting. It's always peaceful. I don't think there's been any trouble. I certainly know that the people who live close by come to us if they've got any problems. So I don't think anybody feels threatened by it. But yeah, 1 p.m. outside the hotel. And then Craig's done a lot of work with the route, and okay. it's gaining traction.
Okay, good. Well, just before you go, Carly, one more comment for you, if you don't mind. As a woman living locally, tell me how you feel walking these streets.
To be honest, I don't go out at night time. I actually walked to my car a couple of weeks ago, and it came home to me just how much I feel quite vulnerable, and I'm not that type of person. I realised that there's a lot going on out there that we hear, and it's quite scary. It's very scary, and we're trying to do this for women, girls, children, even men. I know a lot of men that feel scared walking the streets.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine.
That's a massive backward step, and I don't know how we became those people.
It's awful, awful. Well, listen, good luck with your protest, and we'll keep in touch. And thank you so much to, Southampton parents, Craig Jones and Carly Fisher. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the story. This is what's happening. These asylum seeker hotels, I'm not trying to say that every asylum seeker is a great danger, but you've got hundreds of young men of a certain age, youngish age, military, let's use the nice euphemism, military age, you know, between the ages of 16, 17 and 35, just milling around with nothing to do. And they tend to gravitate around schools, where we just heard a sort of a home or a sort of block of flats for mature women. I mean, it's a problem, isn't it?
I don't know anything like it. It's a society, or a community in this case, that is literally under siege. There are 300 men there who weren't there before.
Think about that.
It's just the sheer number, right? 300 men who weren't there before, who are targeting vulnerable people. They are actively targeting vulnerable people. If they're targeting women in mobility scooters and they're hanging around schools, that's precisely what they're doing. Now, it's as you've just said, we're not talking about every single asylum seeker or every single migrant. What we're talking about is huge numbers. What we are talking about is people that we don't know anything about. And what we're talking about, actually, is people who are changing their habits, who are frightened and who are staying at home rather than going out, and no doubt telling their children to do exactly the same, because all of these people have descended on their community.
Absolutely. Now, we're running hideously late, but we're going to play this anyway. This is when Samara Gill, my producer and now Ace reporter, went to the demonstration last week in the West Drayton area, to the west of London, where this huge Holiday Inn with 600 rooms dispatches, if you like, hundreds of migrants on a daily basis almost, and they tend to mill around outside the local Cherry Lane primary school. We had reports of them leering through the playground fence. One dad, sick of complaining to the school and asking them to fix the fence, went down and fixed it himself. But this is Samara talking to a young lady whose parents wanted her to talk to us about how she doesn't feel safe.
Are you not going to school at the moment? What's happening there?
People are calling me racist at school for going to the marches, and they're calling me far right. But the thing is, I'm not far right. I respect everyone's cultures, their religion, where they come from and their background. I just want to be able to feel safe.
Well, there you go. As I say, that young lady's parents wanted us to talk to her. She's in the West London area. And her story, I think, is being repeated around the country. We've got a problem here. You know, you know, you talk about the migrant crisis, all these people coming in, we put them in hotels. Well, it's the story's bigger than that. It's the effect that these hotels, suddenly hundreds of young men with nothing to do, living in the middle of communities, it has a bad knock-on effect. So if you've got any stories like that, or you have any thoughts about this, give me a call, 03444 991 1000. When we come back, we'll tell the story of the Syrian asylum seeker done for 3 assaults while staying in an asylum seeker hotel, walked free from court on yesterday. Staines magistrate just walked free, didn't even get sent to jail or anything. Sounds like two-tier justice to me, the sort of favouritism we tend to show to these people who break into our country illegally. That next, stay tuned.
Government. It's a crisis for the thousands of victims who've been through this, Rakib. Where do they go from here, do you think?
Well, I think there needs to be 3 key things that the Labour government has to do if it wants to shore up public confidence in the National Statutory Inquiry into grooming gangs, but ultimately restore trust among the victims and survivors of such heinous sexual crimes. I think one is that I think that Jess Phillips needs to be fired as Safeguarding Minister.
If your way of dealing with a bunch of ravenous wolves is to throw a vast amount of steak on the ground, you will find that they stop chasing you for a bit. And whereas Streeting's been saying, oh, look, we've
solved this. Unlike the Tories, we've solved this, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And for a few months, things, the reduction in waiting lists, which was happening under the Conservatives, I might add, continued. And now for the last 3 months, it's gone into reverse. And the ravenous wolves, if you throw them a load of meat.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. As I was just mentioning, really shocking story, really. There's an asylum seeker sexually assaulted 3 women. He's been found convicted of these offences on Wednesday at Staines Magistrates Court. For what it's worth, his name is Qais al-Aswad, originally from Syria, living at a Surrey hotel, an asylum seeker hotel. He sexually assaulted 3 women separately on separate occasions as he cycled past them in Hawley in Surrey in May and June this year. He's 26 years old. My view on that, sexually assaulting 3 women, you know, I'm not a sort of lock them up and throw away the key type, but that's an imprisonable. These are imprisonable offences. Yeah. Instead, Philip, he walked free. He got a 2-year prison sentence, suspended for 6 months, which means he didn't get a prison sentence. They just walked out of court. One woman, one of his victims, read an impact statement, a victim statement to the court, and she said, what upsets me the most about this whole incident is how an individual who himself claims to be seeking safety and happiness feels he has the right to remove those same things from myself and other women. That's very well put. That sums it up. And this guy should be in jail. Why isn't he?
He certainly should be in jail, and the reason he isn't in jail is because safeguarding means nothing in this country anymore.
Ask the safeguarding minister.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a joke of a safeguarding minister.
We'll talk about her
in a minute. But one of the really concerning things for me, and you see this time and time again with their defence, is that they say that they didn't realise they were doing anything wrong, you know. And I think it's the same with this character. He said, "Well, I didn't realise it was a sexual assault. I didn't realise you weren't allowed to touch women." You know, to me that is really worrying. And if they are taking, if the prosecutors and the judge is taking that into account, then we're in real trouble here. We have laws against sexual assault, and they aren't permeable, they aren't variable. They should apply to everybody, and they should particularly apply to people who aren't born here, who shouldn't be here, or are here by our grace. Yeah. So I think there's a real problem here. Again, we know this because we've talked about so many of these issues. If this was just a one-off, then it would be oh my God, he's sexually assaulted someone while he was on a bicycle. My God, how do you do that? But it's just happened so many times, and it is so worrying. And in the context of all the other sexual assaults, it feels as though there is kind of a wave of sexual assaults against women and children in this country, and it feels as though the establishment really does not want to do a damn thing about it.
Yeah, so he's going around on his bicycle, just like jumping off the bicycle and grabbing this woman by the pelvis, by the backside, just grabbing them and groping them. So one victim said, following the incident, I was left feeling frustrated at the arrogance of the person who committed the assault, as well as upset that they think they're able to do things like this to people who are just minding their own business. I felt and still do feel very disgusted by his actions. Another said, I was upset and angry that the defendant felt it was okay to do this to me, and that he clearly didn't care about the impact of his actions. This was particularly apparent when I swore at him after the assault, and he turned round to swear back at me with a smile on his face. The District Judge Julie Cooper told the defendant, I accept that these ladies have suffered psychological harm, blah, 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 blah. These ladies, I am sure, will experience a state of heightened awareness for some time to come, blah, blah, blah. And then she let him off. She let him off. Look, 3 separate times, this guy gets off his bike and just grabs women like they're pieces of meat. And then he laughs at them, he mocks them. I'm sorry, once I might just about say, all right, suspended sentence. Twice, I think we're talking jail term. 3 times, not even an issue. Of course he goes to jail, but not according to this district judge. She lets him off. He walks out of court. I'd say that's favourable treatment, typical favourable treatment towards asylum seekers. What do you think? 03444 991,000. When we come back, still with sexual assault, I'm afraid, we're going to talk about the rape gang inquiry and the mounting fury against safeguarding minister Jess Phillips, who more and more people just think is just doesn't seem to really care about this. Just seems angry and bored by having to speak about it in the Commons. What is it with these Labour people? We need a public inquiry. Why are they kicking this can down the road? They announced today, oh, it's going to take us months more to find a chairperson. This is after Keir Starmer announced there would be a public inquiry back in June. So 5 months, they haven't got a chairperson. At least 2 of them have said, oh, I'm not. 2 potential candidates said, we're not doing it because we don't trust this. The 2 potential candidates were a former social worker and a former copper. The victims go, no, no, no. It was social workers and coppers who ignored us. In the first place. Yeah, in the first place. We don't want this kind of person chairing. They should be in the dock, not chairing the inquiry. It's a joke. It's a farce. We'll talk about Jess Phillips and the ongoing farce of the public inquiry that never was, never is, and looking like it never will be on the rape gang scandal, the worst ever sexual scandal to hit this country in British history. Awful. Come on, let's do something about it soon. 250,000 vulnerable young white girls, victims, many of them underage. We've got a government that just doesn't... can't be bothered, you know. Come on. Anyway, we'll talk about that next. Stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, welcome back. Before, I'm still with Senior Fellow for the New Culture Forum, Dr. Philip Kisley. Before we discuss our next item, which is basically, I think, the disgraceful behaviour of this government in constantly delaying and not getting to grips with the public inquiry into the rape gang scandal that this nation demands and deserves. These victims, 250,000, they think. They so deserve it. This is justice. Jess Phillips, the alleged safeguarding minister, seems rather bored and angry about the whole thing. Oh, you keep going on about this bloody inquiry, you know. Have a look at this.
The government remains resolute in delivering Baroness Casey's recommendations following her national audit into group-based child sexual exploitation and abuse. These crimes committed by grooming gangs are among the most horrific imaginable, and her report exposed over a decade of institutional inaction, and we are determined to ensure such failures are never repeated.
She sounds so bored by it, doesn't she? The thing is that the 4 brave victims who were forming part of this much delayed, not even happening inquiry, as I say, the government announcing, should take us months before we find a chair. 2 potential chair people have quit the whole process, saying they don't trust the whole remit of this inquiry. 4 victims, one of whom spoke to us, Ellie Reynolds, the other day, they've all sensationally resigned from the process, saying that unless Jess Phillips goes from her job, unless that she stops being the safeguarding process, they won't minister, they won't go back. So they're saying either she goes or we're not having anything to do with this. And what they're annoyed about is that it's been made very clear to them that the government, as it were, the inquiry, doesn't want to point the finger at the perpetrators. In other words, mainly Muslim men of Pakistani heritage. You know, it's Labour again, trying to avoid all of that. Oh, Islamophobia, we need the Muslim vote. And she, old Phillips, Jess Phillips, said in the Commons, it's not true that we're going to widen the girls say they're going to widen the remit so it doesn't focus.
So she's calling them
she's calling the victims of these rape gangs liars. That's outrageous.
It's just it's what these victims have experienced all their lives. No one ever listened to them. Everybody called them a liar. You know, we're talking about girls who were described by the authorities as prostitutes when they were 10 years old. Now you just have to think about what's priority for Jess Phillips here, and it's the fact that her majority in Birmingham is under 700. Okay, and so that's what she's really thinking about. She's thinking about the Muslim.
There's a few of them, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a few of them, and she's thinking about
Angela Rayner has got a very slim majority in the Muslim.
So many of them, and this was in the 2024 election. This was before the reform factor, so they are going to get wiped out anyway. But I mean, just to think of some of the detail with some of these girls, like one in particular, she was called a prostitute when she was 10. She went into a police station to report that she was being sexually abused by these people. The policeman on duty told her to come back when she was sober. She left the police station and then got gang raped immediately afterwards.
Damn.
After she'd been told to go away and come back when she was sober. One of the perpetrators was working as a welfare officer in Oldham, and he was arrested for child molestation, and they didn't tell anybody, and they allowed him to continue to work.
And let me, you know, I'm going to move on in a second, but the most alarming thing at the moment, we're going to play you another clip of Jess Phillips being so angry about, will you stop bothering me with this this cursed rape gang public inquiry? Stop it!
These silly bits of kids.
You know, leave me alone. Got more important things to worry about than this. Anyway, before we get to that little bit of film, we've got a real problem in London. It's quite clear. More and more people saying there's clear evidence that we have a rape gang problem here in London. The Mayor of London refuses to accept this. He's just ignoring more and more reports that this is going on in the capital city. When quizzed about it by fellow councillors, London councillors in the London Assembly, he was asked, you know, we've got a rape gang problem. He's like, sorry, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. Do you mean county lines? No, we mean rape gangs.
What are grooming gangs?
So this guy potentially is doing exactly what they did in the north years ago. Young girls, worried citizens, decent people like Maggie Oliver. We know of a very good ex Met police detective called John Wedger, who keeps saying, I've got a file, I've got a dossier I can give the mayor. Sadiq Khan doesn't want it. So he's doing exactly what they did. He's turning his back, willfully turning a blind eye to clear evidence that young, vulnerable girls are being raped by rape gangs. That's a disgrace.
It's more than a disgrace. I think it's criminal, and I think there will come a time when he has to answer for this in a court of law.
Yeah, I think he's on thin ice here.
He's on very thin ice, but again, it's just this same thing. We know because we have evidence. It's happened time and time again. These victims have been sacrificed on the altar of multiculturalism, of inclusivity, and it needs to stop. We need to have an honest conversation. If we cannot have an honest conversation about our children being raped by gangs of men, then we are finished. We cannot have a conversation about anything.
Yeah. I mean, and given the history of this, the story of the rape gang scandal is local authorities, senior coppers, politicians, social workers, teachers, willfully turning a blind eye to what was going on because they didn't want to be accused of Islamophobia. They're mostly Labour authorities who wanted to keep the Muslim vote. Looks to me as if Sadiq Khan is going down that same extremely dangerous road. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary that he can't see, as you were saying. He's on dangerous ground here. He really, really is. Let me know what you think about that. 03444991000. Before we go to break, shall we have a look at Jess Phillips being very angry about being, bothered with this pesky national inquiry into the rape gang?
Do you know what she reminds me of? Do you remember when Jeremy Corbyn used to be quizzed about anti-Semitism and he was exactly the same thing. It's
have a look at this. Have a look at this.
Conversation with Oldham is, do we not think it might be better for them just to take part in a statutory inquiry? That it is absolutely nothing to do with the idea that Oldham is telling me what to do. And the more people from that side, he can hold up his paper and have a smug face all he likes, but the fact of the matter is that there is absolutely no council in this country who will tell this inquiry where it can and cannot go. I have said that 1,000,000 times from this dispatch box, and yet the same thing gets peddled again and again.
Times, I don't think.
Yeah, the victims just think you're lying. That's the problem. And off with you. We need to get rid of this woman. She is a clear and present blockade to this inquiry, quite clearly. She's one of the many things that's ruining the prospect of a public inquiry aimed at bringing justice to the poor girls who suffered so much. It's an outrage. 03444991000. Must Jess Phillips go? No longer must she be the safeguarding minister. Who the hell does she think she's safeguarding? So angry there. Yo, shut up! No. Give it a break. It's unbelievable. Let me know. Should she go? 03444991000. When we come back, foreign aid, £111 million on Pakistani condoms. That's what we've been spending taxpayers' money on. I can't think of a better way to get rid of our cash. Can you? That next. Stay tuned.
funnily enough.
Resign?
Absolutely. I think the way that she conducted herself yesterday in the House of Commons was disgusting. I think you really need to look at her now and think, how are you one that liaises with survivors and victims when you can't even contain yourself, when you're going public? She was embarrassing and she was angry, but the question is now, why were you angry? Is it because it didn't go how you wanted it to go?
For the government, it's a crisis for the thousands of victims who've been through this, Rakib. Where do they go from here, do you think?
Well, I think there needs to be three key things that the Labour government has to do if it wants to shore up public confidence in the national statutory inquiry into grooming gangs, but ultimately restore trust among the victims and survivors of such heinous sexual crimes. I think one is that I think that Jess Phillips needs to be fired as safeguarding minister.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Dame Andrea Jenkins. Dial a Dame. Call Andrea after the 8 o'clock news. 0344 499 1000. Reform UK's Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire here to answer all your inquiries. Anything you want to answer. I've got a few ideas of topics we can thrash around, but that next. In the meantime, Philip Kisley and I are thrilled with the fact that we, the British taxpayer, we're about to be hit by that awful Chancellor, that useless Rachel from Accounts. She's going to tax the hell out of us because she's screwed everything up. And they're spending money like drunken sailors on public sector pay rises and God knows what. Well, this is good, isn't it? Considering we're about to get tax rises, it's going to help fund the Foreign Office. This is foreign aid. We're paying for this. A 111 million programme in Pakistan. I'm sure we're all worried about this, by the way. Accelerating family planning in Pakistan. Basically, we're going to give Pakistan £111 million worth of condoms. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up, could you?
I don't even know where this is coming from. I mean, there was
a position of insanity.
A position is half the battle. But there was the airport before, wasn't there? And now we're talking about family planning in Pakistan.
Very important issue, I'm sure, but I'm not sure why we have to pay for it.
Is this part of the immigration? Is it thinking outside the box in terms of immigration? I'm not quite sure what it is with this. It's just the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. If I didn't know better, and this was April the 1st, I would think this was an April Fool's story.
Yeah. Well, apparently the scheme began in 2017. It runs until 2028 and was most recently reviewed under Labour last November. And they put the money up to £111 million for contraception, for condoms, to Pakistan. Stop the world, I want to get off. 0344 499 1000. Still, with this government's generosity with our money, we have paid £29.4 million already to mosques all around the country to safeguard Muslims from hate crimes against Muslims. You know, we don't want that. Seems like a lot of money, £29.4 million. Well, forget that. It's about to become nearly £40 million, thanks to our very, very generous Prime Minister, who just can't wait to give away our money like a drunken sailor. Have a look at this.
I'm so sorry that we're meeting in these circumstances, because that was a horrific attack that will have impacted every single member of the community. We've just been talking to some of the family members and getting a sense firsthand of the personal impact. I'm really pleased today that we are announcing a further £10 million to support our mosques on top of the support we've already put in. I'm pleased to say that. I'm sad to say it as well, in a sense, because I wish we didn't need to put in more security. We shouldn't need to have security in places of worship. And it's sad that we do, but that just reflects the responsibility on me, on the Home Secretary, to do everything we can to tackle hate crime.
This might be an unfair question. Maybe the government is, helping other religions. But when I hear this, and I want Muslims to be protected from hate crimes. Yeah. No one deserves that. Do you think we're giving millions and millions of pounds to synagogues as well?
No, I don't think we are. This is a PR exercise, isn't it? This is getting on the right side of Islam. This is placating, in a way, Islam. And I was just looking at that footage there and I was just cringing because it was so paternalistic, it was so patriarchal, it was so awful, it was so white saviour. He really is an embarrassment. This government is not only an expensive embarrassment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's as I say, people, the citizens of this country deserve, particularly in pursuit of their religion, they deserve to be protected from hate crime.
Absolutely.
But I just want to know, since we seem to have given Muslim mosques £30 million, or 40 million, 29.4 million, there's the Prime Minister announcing another 10 million. How many millions of pounds have we given to synagogues, which seem to have a clear and pressing problem after the attack in Manchester, what was it now, 3 weeks ago? I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. 03444991000. I sort of smell a rat there. It doesn't seem right to me. Philip Kisley, Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you very much for another excellent hour. As I say, when we come back, dial a dame, call Andrea Jenkins. She's waiting to take your calls. 03444991000. That next, stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back for the next half an hour. Get on the phone and give Andrea Jenkins a call. 03444991000. Nothing is off the table. You can talk about whatever you want, but I'm going to put forward a few ideas that you might be interested in discussing with Reform UK's excellent Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire. But first of all, a warm welcome to Andrea Jenkins, Dame Andrea Jenkins. Hello, Andrea.
Evening, Kevin. How are you doing?
I'm all right. What do you think about? So we call Andrea. So I had this other idea. What do you think? Dial a dame. What do you think?
I thought it was hilarious, actually. Very catchy, isn't it?
Dial a dame, yeah. So dial Dame Andrea Jenkins with any questions you want. Now, I've got a few ideas, Andrea. I think we should talk about a story that we've been covering now for a week or so, and I think it's a growing concern around the country. That is asylum seeker hotels and their proximity to schools. More and more parents extremely worried about that. I think we should think about talking about the rape gang inquiry. Folks, so write all this down because you might want to call Andrea about it. I think we should talk about the rape gang public inquiry that never was, never is, and looks increasingly as if it never will be. I think this government is really letting down the thousands of poor victims of the worst sexual scandal in British history. I also think Robert Jenrick's come out and said he wants to ban the burqa. I think it's time that, we should talk about this. What's your view on banning the burqa, Andrea?
Well, I came out supporting Boris with his letterbox article all those years ago, and even saying back then, do you remember Westmonster, the online magazine that was launched with Aaron Banks, etc.?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I did an article back then saying that I supported it. So, because to me it's about it's the security aspect. I mean, what people do in their own home, that's up to them, isn't it? But and it's, we are a westernized country, and we should be treating women and men the same.
Yeah, and I think it's always
aspect I find deeply concerning.
Yeah. Also, I think it is the subjugation of women. I think it is the reduction of women to second-class status.
Well, look at Afghanistan. I mean, when you see the pictures of what it was like there previously, and how women lived, wasn't it?
They've come up. In Afghanistan, Andrew, they've come up with a new burqa. They've decided that being able to see both of a woman's eyes is too sexually provocative.
Really?
So there's a new one with only one eye, which is unbelievable. But I think, I'm uncomfortable about telling any woman what they should and shouldn't wear.
Absolutely.
But I'm not convinced. Women say, well, we decide to wear these burqas. It's like, well, do you really? And what do they signify? They signify that women are less important than men. I just don't like the whole idea. But anyway, we could discuss this, folks. Call Andrea 0344 499 1000. And the last one that I think might be worth talking about is the Le Farce, as they now call it, of the one-in, one-out scheme. 46 migrants so far since early August returned to France. 18 have come back to Britain from France, and today, or last night, we learned the most ridiculous story that one of the migrants that we sent back to France on the one-in, one-out scheme has returned to Britain on an illegal small boat. You couldn't make this stuff up. So the ongoing migrant crisis...
I bet it's not the first, actually, do you?
I wouldn't. I bet he won't be the last, Andrea, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, well, look, you said you'd take calls. You have been warned. This is one of our great callers, a great lady, actually, who I think you'll like, and she speaks a lot of sense. So, Georgina, hello.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hello. Welcome to the show. Always a pleasure to have you on, Georgina. And Dame Andrea Jenkins is here. What would you like to ask her?
Well, firstly, a very good evening, Dame Andrea. I'm delighted to talk to you. Myself, as well as the rest of the country, are very, very worried about the illegal migration situation. We've heard a lot of talk from the Labour Party. I think they are dealing with a lot of moral cowardice here. There's a lot of talk and nothing's happening. When the Reform UK Party actually do get into power, are you definitely going to send these illegal migrants back, the ones that are already here and the ones that come over?
Look, I think we've come out with the strongest policy of anybody, and look, what Reform are doing, we are learning the lessons of the Labour and the Conservatives, that the most important thing is to deliver for the public. So please rest assured, we've got strong policies and we will send people back. And we want a kind of system which is based on, you know, the skills needs of our country. If people's coming to set a business up, brilliant. But this illegal migration has to stop. And we've got to stop this benefit culture. We've got to stop putting people in hotels. We've already said that we will have a quick turnaround, house people in a military base, all locked up, only in a short-term thing, as we process and then send them straight back.
Well,
so
that's
literally, we're
how
talking 1 or 2 weeks, and then process, send people straight back. But the most important thing that we will do is stop that pull to Britain, because we've got a big sign over our heads in Britain saying, everybody come, it's all freebies for everybody. Free all you can eat, really, buffet, isn't it? So that's the thing, we need to stop that.
Well, it's actually turned into a disunited kingdom now. Well, you know, we've got women and children terrified to go out of their homes. It's getting to a state where we can't walk about our own country in safety, and something has to be done, Andrea.
And that's why you've got all these outpouring of flags, because this is people saying, I've had enough. Don't forget about us Brits. That's what this is about. And, you know, we are fully behind you. And it is soft touch Britain. That will end when Reform gets into government.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, because we as a nation have been forgotten and we have been put at the bottom of the pile when we should be prioritised before any illegal migrants.
Look, even in Lincolnshire, I've got to put British people at the top of the queue. And I got lambasted a lot by the left-wing newspapers last week because, you know, the county spends £1 million on ESOL, you know, learning English as a foreign language. And yet literacy is at an all-time low for Brits. 8.5 million people haven't even got the reading level of a 12-year-old. So I said this money should be going on our own folk to actually help them have that chance in life. So, you know, what I'm doing in Lincolnshire is really a microcosm of what we could potentially do in government.
Andrea, all taxpayers' money at the moment, the way the country is, should be spent on the better for our own and our own country. When we have money to spare, then we can be benevolent to other countries. Until then, we've got to concentrate on our own.
I'll tell you what, Georgina, stay where you are. I don't know, and you, of course, Andrew. I don't know if you just heard the story that Philip Kisley and I just covered, talking about our generosity to foreign countries with the foreign aid scheme. We've just pledged 100 and... well, check this out, Georgina. I want to get both your reactions to this. The Foreign Office has just pledged £111 million to the Accelerating Family Planning in Pakistan programme. That essentially is £111 million that British taxpayers are funding for condoms.
Oh, my God.
For contraceptives for Pakistan. What do you make of that, Georgina?
Well, wouldn't that be better spent on the...
almost anything, I think, but go on.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the better for our veterans and our elderly, wouldn't that be better spent on our children? Wouldn't that be better spent for our hospitals and our police and our other services that have been depleted? It's just absolutely ridiculous, this, Kevin. And honestly, it gets worse by the day. We need some radical changes with the government and the Home Office here. This is absolutely monstrous, and we shouldn't be taking it. We should never have given the socialists our checkbook, because they have run this country into the ground, and I'm totally sick of it.
What do you think about that, the condom plan, £111 million for contraception to Pakistan, paid for by us? What do you think about that, Andrea?
Look, I mean, I think it's ludicrous. And if anything, it's actually showing that we give freebies right in the source country, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's saying, look, come over here. This is just the first thing we'll give you what's free.
I don't want to make light. I don't want to undermine the importance of family planning in Pakistan. But with all due respect to Pakistan, that's an issue for Pakistan. Why are we paying for it? Unbelievable.
But also, on the global index, they seem to be a country what's quite high in corruption, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They've got to get their own house in order before we send money there. Because, why are we sending money there anyway? But it's not going to go to the people anyways.
I think that's half the problem with foreign aid. We send over 20 million, 30 million.
I always say trade, not aid.
Yeah, trade, not aid. Very good phrase. Very good phrase.
To be self-sufficient, to get themselves out of poverty. I've always said that.
Absolutely. Good. Well said. Georgina, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you once again for an excellent call. Let's move on to Karen in Bournemouth. Karen wants to talk about the rape or the grooming gang inquiry, the rape gang inquiry. Karen, don't you think it's a scandal the way this entire public inquiry that the nation demanded, that the victims of this scourge deserve the justice that they deserve? Don't you think it's a scandal that it's another scandal that it's falling apart at the seams?
No, I think that's exactly what Keir Starmer wants. He'll be bouncing around full of joy at the moment, because it's breaking down. What he's doing is he's dividing people in every single section. It wasn't that long ago that we pretty much all got on. And now all of a sudden everything's divided down in race and everything else. And Keir Starmer is very happy about all of this. And the more he can do it, the happier he feels.
I agree with you there, because the Labour Party, they always used to divide people by class, didn't they? And they're also dividing people now in this way. No, I completely agree with you.
Andrea, is it, I don't wish to belittle the rape gang scandal. I was a victim myself and escaped, and I know exactly why they don't want to social worker and things. But I get the feeling that it's not just that. We've got the judiciary letting rapists off. We've got the education department brainwashing and damaging the children. And I think that they're trying to turn us into an Islamic state.
Look, I think it is about votes, actually, with the Labour Party. If you look at, the Muslim population in Britain, they're more likely to vote Labour. That isn't a racist quote, that's a fact, isn't it, Kevin?
Well, yeah.
The Labour Party. And so I think a lot of this is Starmer and the Labour Party do not want to upset their voters. And so the quicker this can be moved on as possible in their eyes, but they are forgetting about the victims. And it's gone on too many years as it is, consecutive governments. It's gone on too long. There was an inquiry, wasn't there, a report made under the Conservatives, but then we didn't quite start at the time enacting that report, so more could have been done then. But the complete disregard of those victims, it's sickening, and it's a stain on our country's history. For this to have gone on for so long, and now for people to be resigning, the only person who should be resigning is actually Jess Phillips.
Yeah, I think her behaviour's been absolutely reprehensible, and
She's like Teflon, though, isn't she, Kevin?
She is and she isn't. The thing is, it's quite clear. My guess is, my prediction is that she might be reshuffled to a different position, so it doesn't look like she's getting sacked. But when you've got 4 victims who were involved in the public inquiry, they were on a thing called the Victims Panel, saying we're not going to carry on if this woman, Jess Phillips, is still the safeguarding minister. When you have 4 victims saying she's calling us a liar, which is what she effectively did, her position, I think, becomes untenable. Do you agree with that, Karen?
I don't think he'll get rid of her, because it's a very useful shield for him.
Yeah,
keep those lot divided, and now he's got the victims groups divided.
Yeah, I'll tell you what Keir Starmer doubtless likes about Jess Phillips. Disappointingly, she's turned out to be one of those lackey ministers who'll do anything to keep the boss happy. We thought she had a good track record on looking after the welfare of the victims of sexual abuse, particularly the child
She used to
victims.
work for a domestic abuse charity.
Yeah, she had a good record.
I thought it would have been different with her, but...
Yeah, exactly. She spoiled her record, her track record. She absolutely spoiled it, don't you think?
Oh, completely. And I mean, I've never been a fan of Jess Phillips. She's, in my book, she's got very arrogant. She's a person who believes her own hype, the way the BBC and Lefty build her up. But no, I was hugely disappointed because I did think she appeared to have lots of compassion, having worked in that sector. But I think she's letting a lot of people down.
Yeah, Karen, very good to talk to you. Thank you very much for an excellent call, and please keep in touch. Karen in Bournemouth there. I'll tell you what, Clive in Somerset, stay where you are. We better go to break now, and when we come back, we will speak to Clive in Somerset. So it's call Dame Andrea Jenkins, 03444991000. Anything you like, but just get on the phone and she'll answer your questions. So we'll go to break now, back in a moment.
more people driving electric cars. And of course, that means fewer people filling their tanks up with petrol. And petrol, the levies on petrol, as your viewers will know, because they're the ones paying it, it's so expensive. That money is going into government. When government loses that money because more people are driving EVs, we do need to think about what the alternative measure looks like. What we want to get to through this cheaper energy commitment is that you make electricity so cheap that your viewers are saying, get me an electric car as quickly as possible.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. It's Call Dame Andrea Jenkins taking all your calls. 03444991000. She is, of course, Reform UK's Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire. Well, let's go to Clive in Somerset, as I announced before the break. Clive, what would you like to say?
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
I wanted to just share maybe a different perspective, and this is the perspective of a legal migrant who's living here in the UK, legally with his family, contributing into the system, paying taxes, kids going to school, volunteering and helping the homeless and very other things.
This is you, Clive, right? This is you, yes?
No, this is me and my family, correct.
Yeah.
For those who are unaware, to go through the visa process legally costs not only time and effort, but thousands and thousands of pounds to come into this country legally. And to see someone illegally coming into the country, having immediate access to benefits, immediate access to a hotel, immediate access to healthcare, is shocking even to a migrant living in this country, let alone a British citizen. So, I just wanted to give that perspective. I think it is a big problem. And to be frank, on the contraceptive issue, I think they should inflate a few and maybe send a couple of people back on them.
Do you want to go into politics, Clive?
It's an interesting point Clive's making. Migrants.
I've got friends like this as well.
A lot of migrants, legal migrants, are as upset about the migrant crisis as sort of long-term British citizens.
Look, I've got friends who came over from India and they paid tens of thousands. They set an amazing AI IT business up in Yorkshire, fully got into the community, does so much volunteering and community work as well as running his own business. And, this is the kind of migration we want, isn't it? We want the legal routes where people can contribute to our society, where we can learn from each other, and on top of that, we want people to fill skills gaps as well. And I completely agree with you because my friends have got exactly the same views as you, Clive. You work your socks off, you pay tens of thousands to come over for a better life for you and your family. Yet people can come over in a boat and get everything for free. It's wrong. It's not fair, is it?
Yeah.
And it's not fair on you. It's not fair on the British people. Ultimately, it's not fair on them either. And it's their taxes and your taxes. What's going on this, isn't it?
Yeah, Clive. I mean, to my mind, it's sort of irrelevant that you were a legal migrant. It's that you. I don't know if you're a citizen yet or you're just a resident, but you're a taxpayer. You work hard. You pay your taxes, and like the rest of us, you look around and say, "Hang on a second, why am I funding all these people who break into the country illegally? Why am I paying for them to stay in 4-star hotels? Why am I paying them 50 quid a week benefits, free food, free dentists, free doctors, free lawyers? Clive, we're all in this together, aren't we? Why are we paying for this stuff?
I mean, I have no comment on it, to be fair. I think it's just incredible that we are. And I think the fact that it is enabling, and I think it's a difficult issue to solve, whoever is in government, to be fair. I think a solution is needed, and I think, as more countries crack down, if UK doesn't follow suit, then UK will be one of the only attractive countries to these migrants to come to, and even more will come eventually over time, regardless of the one-in, one-out solution.
Clive,
I completely agree with you.
Really good to talk to you. Thank you very much for an excellent call. Clive in Somerset there. I was just breaking Clive off there, Andrea, because I want to get in another call, and that is Carl from Liverpool. Hi, Carl. Talk to me. Talk to Dame Andrea Jenkins as well.
Good evening, both of you. Yes, Kevin, it's just about the 10 million going towards mosques
It was that's 10 million extra. We'd already apparently paid 29.4 million to protect Muslims from hate crimes. Now, I want to say this: it's important. You know, I don't want to see anybody the victim of hate crimes. And in a sense, if this is a very real problem, you know, I don't actually mind taxpayers contributing to the safety of these people who've got every right to pursue their religion. I'm just wondering, Carl and Andrea, you know, are we paying, so we pay £30 million to mosques to keep Muslims safe. Are we paying millions and millions of pounds to synagogues to keep Jewish people safe? That's what I want to know.
Well, that's a no, isn't it? But whilst it was an Islamist extremist that attacked that synagogue. So, I mean, we know there was something at a mosque or a car went on fire or something like that, but if we're not going to give money towards the Jewish community to protect them, from my recollection, I can't remember that many attacks on mosques over the last couple of years or so, but I remember I can see attacks daily on white British people and Jewish people and people of other colour from illegal people, and rapes of young women, young girls, white girls. Why are we protecting someone that we're just protecting a group of people who are here, extremists? Because they will belong to some mosques, and we are protecting them by giving them money, but we can't protect our own people by making sure our schools are safe from illegal immigrants waiting outside. And Kevin, it's got to stop. We are giving money for old rope, and it needs to stop, because if we don't, then we're doomed. You know, we are doomed.
Well, yeah, exactly right. And by the way, I should say, to be in fairness, after the dreadful Manchester synagogue attack, there were a couple of attacks on mosques that were framed as sort of retaliations, you know, by people angry about the attacks on Jewish. And then I can't remember the story of both of them, but I remember one of them, the person that was arrested for allegedly attacking this mosque, trying to set fire to it, turned out to be a Muslim. So sometimes you shouldn't jump to conclusions in these situations, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, my view is nobody should be attacked for their religion, full stop. But I do think we've had a two-tier justice system under Labour right since they've got back into power. We saw last year, didn't we, in the public outcry when the girls got murdered, and there was the riots. We saw a two-tier justice system. We saw how the pro-Palestinian lobby was putting hatred on projecting hatred on the Houses of Parliament, and police stood idly by. And I think that now that we've got to ensure that we also protect the Jewish people. I mean, look, when it happened, the next day I went to Lincoln and spoke to we've got a very small Jewish community in Lincoln, and they said they never thought in Britain that you could get murdered for being Jewish. I mean,
well, yeah, and then you got
words fail you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then of course you have, in my view, this scandalous situation, Carl and Andrea, in Birmingham, where West Midlands police say, well, we can't have these Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans coming to support their team at Aston Villa because we can't guarantee their safety. I would say to Westminster Police, it's your job to do that.
Absolutely.
It's your job to protect these people's right. Human right to just watch their football team play. You might
I mean,
find...
what's it going to go next? It's a slippery slope. What is it going to make them have different buses? You know, what slope are we going on with this? It's disgusting. They're British citizens, and they should not be treated this way.
But
the footballers. And
also the away fans as well. The Maccabi Tel Aviv fans have got the right to come and see their team in a foreign country. They've got the right to do that.
Exactly. No, but we should. It's like true segregation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's wrong.
My point, Carl, I always make this point, is, you know, I think Birmingham's got a serious anti-Semitism problem, and my point is, would the Westminster Police be quite so reluctant to police the arrival of foreign fans if those foreign fans playing at Villa Park supported, I don't know, Palestine United or Gaza Albion or something? I suspect they wouldn't be. Do you see what I'm saying?
Kev, well, you've got to, if you some of the Champions League games the other night had support for Palestine banners waving. My problem with the whole thing is, given the state of the country, and when you've got Keir Starmer pledging to handle 110 million for contraception to another country, and we've got so many problems. I mean, the guy...
Sorry.
On another planet, isn't he?
It really is.
He is... If someone came and landed here from another planet and seen the state of this place and the man that was leading us, they think we would all have lost our minds, because I don't understand why we're giving money away when we have got so many issues here. We've got homeless veterans, we've got homelessness, we've got crime, everything. We've got a London mayor that won't accept that he's so bad at his job and crippled London. All these people, Kev, they live in their own weird, crazy world where if we say something, they go, well, that's a lie.
But,
This is why I'm trying to do it different in Lincolnshire. I see it as a microcosm. This is why I'm next year we're building our first veterans village, and it's going to be the first of many. It's about looking after our own people, isn't it? They fought for us, so we'll fight for them. And I've got a Lincolnshire People First policy. We want to ensure that British taxpayers are no longer at the back of the queue, and I got elected on that kind of manifesto. And I'm going to deliver on that. I'm going to have some big fights on my hands, which I've already started having. But we've got to show that this can be done. And we can roll this out then if we get into government across the country.
Carl, thanks for a great call. It's Carl in Liverpool. Let me ask you a last question. This is me dialing our Dame directly, face to face. Let me ask you this. I think there's something extraordinary going on in London. It's breathtaking in its horror, really. We have a mayor here, Sadiq Khan, who keeps getting confronted by various other London Assembly councillors, particularly Susan Hall, the Tory leader here in London, saying, look, we've got serious evidence that we fear that we have a rape gang problem, a rape gang scourge here in the capital city. And there's a copper, an ex-copper, who comes onto our show, who's come onto our show a couple of times. He's got a dossier. And he says, look, I used to investigate this when I was in the police force. He's now retired, but he's still investigating. He said, I've got a dossier proving that right now, rape gangs are operating in this city, in London. There's plenty of evidence to at least, in my view, prompt the mayor, Sadiq Khan, to say, right, we need to do something about this. Instead, Andrea, he acts like it's not happening. And when quizzed in the London Assembly, Susan Hall the other day saying, look, we've got evidence there's a rape gang problem here. Rape gang, what are you going to do about the clear evidence there's a rape gang scourge going on in the city? He says, so I'm not quite sure what you mean. He keeps saying, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean county lines? He says, no, rape gangs. You must have read about them in the paper. He's acting. So what he's doing is repeating what happened in all those northern towns.
Yes.
Just ignoring, turning his back.
It's the default position of Labour where this is concerned, isn't it? Because it is the default position, because this is what all the Labour-run councils did for so many years, and all the leaders, etc. And I think really there should be a full investigation into the individual councillors, into the individual police. Anybody of any hierarchy of level should be investigated. No stone should be left unturned. But as I said, it's a default position of Labour, and it's only going to take a lot of political pressure and more petitions to actually ensure that they do something.
Absolutely, Andrea. Andrea, got to move on, but Dial a Dame, I like this. It was great, and thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Dial a Dame there. Call Andrea Jenkins, Reform UK's Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire. Get on the phone again. We're obviously going to take calls later on in the show. 03444 99 1000. I promised you a big royal announcement. We were told that there would be one at 8 o'clock, and we were speculating it might be Prince Andrew getting kicked out of the Royal Lodge. Well, the only royal announcement we can find is that the singer Jessie J is going to be starring in the Royal Variety Show, which isn't exactly front page news. So we'll keep you posted if something does develop, but Kinsey Schofield will be on later. Sorry, I've rabbited on for too long. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Angela Rayner's resignation speech, her sickening resignation speech in the House of Commons today. That next, stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Now, I've kept him waiting for far too long, but let's go straight over to my next guest. He is broadcaster, historian, and another fellow at the New Culture Forum, Rafe Hadel-Manku. Rafe, sorry to keep you. Well, I know you want to talk about the grooming gang scandal, the rape gang scandal, and we will do that after the break. But I wanted to get your take on Angela Rayner's, in my view, absolutely sickening resignation speech today, and the revolting spectacle of all the Labour lackeys, including the cabinet, all packing into the Commons to listen to their working class hero failing to apologise for dodging tax and then trying to lie her way out of it. You'd think that she was being beatified rather than having to say, I was forced to quit because I dodged tax and then I lied. Let's have a quick listen to the speech.
The last few weeks have been incredibly tough on my family, with my personal life so much in the public eye. But I've always believed in the highest standards of transparency and accountability. And it is what the public expects, and it is the price we pay for the privilege of service. Yeah. That's why I referred myself to the independent advisor and gave him access to all of the information he needed. I am, of course, corresponding with the HMRC, and they have my full cooperation. There is no excuse not to pay taxes owed, and I will do so. This was an honestly made mistake, but when you make a mistake, you take responsibility.
Yeah, Rafe, well, first of all, you could hear in the background Labour MPs and Cabinet Ministers, Cabinet Secretaries cheering her. What she didn't mention, I take responsibility for my actions, an honest mistake. She's not mentioning the fact that when she got caught, for that is what happened, she got caught red-handed trying to dodge stamp duty tax, the correct amount of stamp duty tax on her new £800,000 flat overlooking the sea in Hove in Sussex. What she didn't mention in that speech, by the way, no apology whatsoever, what she didn't mention is when she got caught, she said, well, what it was I've received very bad advice from my solicitors who gave me that, told me I didn't need to pay that. And the solicitors, I said at that time, you wait, tick tock, those solicitors who did the conveyancing, who organised the purchase of this flat, I said, they will come out of the woodwork fairly soon and say, we did no such thing as give her any advice at all. Lo and behold, they did. She said, we didn't give her any advice, so she lied. She's not mentioning that. Not mentioning the fact that actually she had to resign from being Deputy Prime Minister and Housing Secretary in shame and disgrace. As I say, you'd think she was being beatified rather than having to admit she'd done terribly wrong and wrecked her career. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you started off saying it was revolting. That's exactly what it was. It was an appalling piece of amateur dramatics. And everything, yeah, it was a meaningless stream of slop. She portrayed herself as a martyr, you said, being beatified, and there she was, surrounded by all these devoted Labour acolytes who literally were looking up at her reverentially, like she was, I don't know, Joan of Arc.
Yes, that's right.
But I don't think St. Joan ever used words like Tory scum, so I'm not sure whether how suitable that is. But yet, no contrition, there's no humility, no sense of guilt, but, riddled with her hypocrisy. And yes, I take responsibility for my mistakes. Really, dear? You only took responsibility because you got caught.
Exactly.
And then just goes, I paid my taxes. Yeah, you only paid your taxes because you got caught. I mean, this is what's crazy. And she made no mention, of course, this is another thing I think people must remember. She made no mention of the severance payment she received.
Yeah, £17,000. That's right.
That's £17,000. Thank you very much. That will do nicely.
Yeah, for having to resign, to having to quit in disgrace, she gets 17 grand. And this, of course, when she was a Labour backbencher in opposition, or I think she was a frontbencher. She was very big on campaigning for ministers and secretaries of state who had to quit for breaking the ministerial code, not getting any payoffs. She absolutely disgracefully broke the ministerial code, and in her case, she was fully prepared to make an exception and take the 17 grand payoff. Absolute disgusting hypocrisy, and I think people are so sick of this about the Westminster mob. The way they preen themselves, the way they act as if they're, holier than thou, where in fact so much of Westminster is just a sort of self-serving cesspit, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the hypocrisy, calling out people who take severance pay, voting against it, and then taking that money herself, pocketing that cash. But she then had the audacity also in that speech to speak about her socialist principles. Excuse me, love. The whole sorry episode was about her capitalist property portfolio and tax avoidance. I'm not sure that sounds very socialist to me. Well, actually, it does sound quite socialist to me. And then, of course, she failed to mention her deception, all the lies that she was about getting bad advice. And, the whole speech was actually a desperate attempt to try to slither out of that hole she had dug for herself, claiming that the whole thing was actually the fault of tax law. It's ridiculous. She was found by the Prime Minister's ethics advisor to have seriously breached the ministerial code and not to have followed the guidance she was given, which told her to seek higher levels of advice.
Indeed. So there you go, another piece of Westminster rancid theatre. Your thoughts, folks? 03444 99 1000. Of course, now she's in disgrace. It could be probably as many as 6 weeks before they reappoint her to the cabinet. Watch this space, seriously. The scandal doesn't last long in politics. Ask Peter Mandelson, who'll no doubt be back for some senior role very soon as well. Listen, let's go to break, and I know you want to talk about the rape gang inquiry and the scandal generally. It'll be very interesting to hear what you have to say, Rafe. So stick around, folks. That's what we're going to talk about next.
More people driving electric cars, and of course that means fewer people filling their tanks up with petrol. And petrol, the levies on petrol, as your viewers will know, because they're the ones paying it. It's so expensive. That money's going into government. When government loses that money because more people are driving EVs, we do need to think about what the alternative measure looks like. What we want to get to through this cheaper energy commitment is that you make electricity so cheap that your viewers are saying, get me an electric car as quickly as possible.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. I'm still with the New Culture Forum's historian and fellow Rafe Heidel-Manku. And Rafe, you've made for the New Culture Forum a video or a film, if you like, called Labour's Grooming Gang Cover-Up. We've had a look at the video. We didn't quite have time to edit it, so you're going to have to talk us through it. What's the gist of what you're saying? I mean, obviously I can glean something from the title, but Labour's continuing attitude to the rape gang public inquiry that the nation demands and the 250,000 estimated victims deserve as a matter of urgency, if you ask me. They're continuing kicking down the can attitude to this, shoulder shrugging. What's her name? Jess Phillips getting all angry and irritated. Oh, we're going to have it soon. Stop it. You know, I think the way they've responded to this, their attitude to it, is a disgrace.
It's more than a disgrace. It's a scandal. The rape gangs are the greatest scandal of the 21st century. And in my view, the Labour Party's involvement, the Labour Party is at the centre of the grooming gang scandal. And there should be police investigations into the criminality of Labour politicians who deliberately turned a blind eye. They knew what was going on, and they turned a blind eye, not just for multiculturalism, not just for fear of being called racist, not just for community cohesion. They turned a blind eye because they wanted the Muslim vote. Specifically, they wanted postal votes. This is epic corruption I'm talking about. This is 19th century rotten borough type of politics, which we thought we got rid of in the 1832 Reform Act, alive and well in the 21st century. And the fact that more people aren't talking about this, I think, is utterly amazing. You know, the Labour Party's hands are absolutely stained with this scandal. You know, there was a chap called Roger Meir who was a great whistleblower on this, and he revealed what was happening. Essentially, what you had were the Labour Party was so determined to keep the Muslim vote that they said to Muslim community leaders, look, we know what's going on, but we'll ignore all that. Don't vote for other parties. Certainly don't vote for independent Muslim MPs, because they will never get into government. They can never look after you. Only the Labour Party is able to actually do stuff to make change for you guys. So we'll ignore all these cultural practices. We'll allow all these abhorrent things that are being done in order to get these votes. And what would happen is you'd have community leaders in community centres in the north of England and elsewhere, also going door to door, knocking on the houses, often with heavies, henchmen with them, and they would speak to the head of the household and say, can you give me all the postal votes for everybody in your house? Leave them blank, just sign them. And then these postal votes were given in large tranches, allegedly, to the Labour Party. And this is corruption. This is, you know, Roger Meir has exposed how this has happened. There are chaps serving in jail who've been involved in all this 22-year jail term and so forth. And the Conservative Party was in government. This was a golden opportunity for them to actually expose the Labour Party. And I'm bewildered as to why they didn't, because what we're talking, most of these areas are Labour strongholds.
Yeah, exactly.
Very few Tories. They dropped the ball on this. They didn't want to discuss it because it was actually, you know, they didn't want to show all the racism here. But it must be exposed.
Exactly right, Rafe. And this is why Labour is so reluctant, why it keeps clicking its heels, dragging its heels, kicking the can down the road, try to say, oh, we don't really need a national public inquiry. We can do a few local inquiries. What, the biggest sex scandal in British history, 250,000 estimated victims, young, vulnerable white girls, many of them underage. You don't think we need a national inquiry on that? I think we do. Louise Casey's report came out, and even Starmer had to concede, all right, yeah, we will have a national inquiry. That was in June. They still haven't got a chairperson to preside over this, and today they announced maybe several months, many more months before we can find someone. So this scandalous delay continues apace, as it were, or continues without pace. I wanted to get your comment on something that I think is extraordinary with a view to this. You know, what happened in those towns like Rochester, Rotherham, not Rochester, that's in Kent, Rotherham, Rochdale and the like. Local authorities willfully turned their back on this situation, that girls were being raped, groomed, drugged, treated like animals, tortured. They willfully ignored it because they didn't want to be accused of Islamophobia, racism, and they didn't want their boroughs, their Labour boroughs, constituencies to look bad. Well, in London, the mayor, Sadiq Khan, is now being assailed by people saying, we've got evidence that it's going on in London. Right now, we have a rape gang problem here in London. Ex-copper John Wedger keeps coming on our show, so I keep offering him my dossier. I know it's happening now. Susan Hall, the Tory leader, saying, come on, it's happening, it's happening. This guy, Sadiq Khan, is doing what those northern towns did. He is willfully ignoring it. When Susan Hall quizzed him in the London Assembly the other week saying, you know, we've got a rape gang problem, he goes, what do you mean, rape gang? It's just the rape gangs. You know, you've read about it in the papers. I don't know what you mean. Do you mean county lines? No, rape gangs. This guy, incredibly, is repeating the crimes of the officials and the authorities that ignored or willfully turned their backs and turned a blind eye to the rape gang scandal all those years ago in the north. It's extraordinary.
You're absolutely right, and you said it so well. It was an absolutely disgusting performance by Sadistic Khan in London Assembly against Susan Hall there, when he was claiming not to know what the grooming gangs were, as if he had somehow been living on another planet for the last few years. He was trying to score political points and goad her into appearing like she was racist and Islamophobic. Not a thought did he give to the victims of these rapists, people who had to actually see their mayor pretend that he didn't know what was going on. And when he denied or pretended to deny to know what Susan Hall was talking about, we now know from the Evening Standard he had already had across his desk, he had seen evidence of what was happening in hotel rooms in London where young girls were being raped, being drugged and raped. This was happening. And of course it was happening in London. You know, London is bigger.
By the way,
than...
sorry to interrupt, Rafe. He also played the race card. He kept saying, are you asking me this because I'm a Muslim? No! We're asking you this because you're the mayor of London. It's honestly, don't insult us with this stuff. It's extraordinary. It's just breathtakingly wrong of him, isn't it?
He was the mayor of London. He is the mayor of London, but he's also the police and crime commissioner. This is why he was told the whole thing. This is what it's so remarkable about all of this. And, you know, London is bigger than Manchester, Leeds, Birmingham combined, right? It's bigger than Scotland and Wales combined population-wise. It just boggles the mind why you wouldn't have similar cases here. I mean, at the time, I was wondering why we hadn't heard reports, and I thought, well, actually, you know, there are only 37% white British in the country. There's an even smaller percentage of white girls in London, rather. And there probably aren't any white girls in Tower Hamlets and East London there. But actually now we know they still were being abused and raped like this. But not just them. Hindu girls and Sikh girls as well were being raped.
I'll tell you what, Rafe, this mayor, Sadiq Khan, is skating on very thin ice here. I think he is cruising towards some serious trouble, He cannot carry on like this. Rafe, I've got to go now, but please come on again and let's talk about this some more. We'll play your video. Great to have you on the show, as always. That's Rafe Heidel-Mankoo, broadcaster, historian and fellow at the New Culture Forum. Let me know what you think about what he was saying. 03444 999 1000. It's Kinsey Schofield and the Royals next. Stay tuned.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. We're going to take your calls fairly soon, 20, 25 minutes, something like that, and then we'll chat and we'll talk. It's good to talk on Talk for the rest of the show, all the way to 10 o'clock when Harry Cole Saves the West comes onto our channel all the way from America, his live show from Washington. That's at 10 p.m. And then at 11 p.m, after Harry Cole Saves the West winds down and ends, it's Ash Gould and Andre Walker taking you into the small hours all the way till 1 a.m. You have been warned. Now, let's go over now before we put open the phone lines to all of you. 03444991000 if you heard what we're talking about. Well, it's now time to talk about the Royals. It's been a hell of a week on the Royal front, hasn't it? So who better to discuss what's been going on than the host of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered, Kinsey Schofield. Hi, Kins.
Hi, Kev. Yeah, pretty busy week. Pope, and I never thought I'd see the King praying with Pope Leo. Those were beautiful visuals coming out of the Vatican today. So a lot of activity.
A very dramatic sort of Catholic outfit that Queen Camilla had on.
I will be kind, and I will not say anything.
I actually thought she looked very striking, but well, unusual.
She looks great. I did message somebody today that her body is banging right now. I probably shouldn't say that in the context of her meeting with the Pope, but she looks like she's in great shape.
Well, you always want to get your body into banging shape before you meet His Holiness, don't you?
Yeah, I do find that to be the priority.
Yeah, so they were in Rome today and they communed with the Pope, and it looked like a very good trip. So good luck with that. Well, let's talk about the week gone by. Now, I know you take a sort of more kind approach to Andrew and his titles and the King's attitude to this than possibly I do. I spoke to Andrew Lowney, the author of Entitled, The Rise and Fall of the House of York, that blockbuster book, which I believe it came out, what was it now, a couple of months ago, didn't it? I think that was the beginning of the end for both Andrew and Fergie. The revelations in there, their venal activity, the chasing of money, the abuse of their royal position was shocking, shocking, shocking. Now, because of that, this is what led to last Friday's announcement from Prince Andrew that because of his sense of duty and his loyalty to his family, he would be...
I think you're giving... I love Andrew Lowney, but you're giving him way too much credit.
No,
I think it is... I think it's you cannot lie when there's digital evidence. There's a digital footprint to suggest he lied to us about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and I think that
it's more than that. It's a fact. We've got an email that way after he told Emily Maitlis they would never talk to Epstein again. We got an email sent after that Notorious Newsnight interview saying, hi Jeff, looks like they're on to us, but we're in this together. I'm sure we can ride it out.
Supreme friend.
Let's play again soon. What I wanted to talk to you about, watch this. This is me and Andrew Lowney, I guess taking the lead, because I don't think that what has happened to Andrew is enough. I don't think that the King, getting him to announce I won't use my titles anymore is enough, because he is actually officially still the Duke of York. He's still the Earl of Inverness, and he's still Baron Kildare in Northern Ireland. He still has these titles. It's just that he has agreed not to use them. In order to get rid of those titles, we have to have an Act of Parliament. It has to go through our Parliament and be voted on. I think that should happen. But this is me discussing this with Andrew Lowney the other day. This is a case where the people should be telling the king, look, I'm sorry, it's not the Middle Ages anymore. We're in charge here, and we do want this issue to go through Parliament, and we do want the Prince Andrew to be officially stripped of his 3 titles, the Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, and the Barony Kildare in Northern Ireland. We do want this officially done. We don't want it just sort of kind of swept under the carpet and said, well, he won't use these titles again. What do you think about that, Andrew?
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. I mean, I think, you know, it's all window dressing, and I agree. Public opinion is way ahead of the palace. I mean, they never seem to play catch up properly. It's too little, too late. You know, I think the hope is that this will satisfy the peasants, and they can go back to the system as it normally is. And I think there's been a huge shift in tone and public opinion just in the last couple of days as more of these lies emerge, and driven, I think, partly by social media, but I think also a much more emboldened press. And it's exciting to see the power of a book like Virginia Giuffre's changing things. I mean, this has really brought home really how sordid the whole thing was, and is very poignant because here she is writing from beyond the grave, but in some ways delivering the final death knell to Andrew.
Yeah, well, Kinsey, the thing is, so referring there to Virginia Giuffre's posthumous autobiography, Nobody's Girl, a very harrowing read in which she chronicles her story, what she says happened to her in terms of Andrew sexually abusing her on 3 different continents. He denies this, but frankly, he's a proven liar. I don't think anybody believes that at all. But because of that, because of this shock book, because of Andrew Lowney's revelations, because of the fact we now know he lied about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, and the fact that him and Fergie basically leached millions of pounds off this convicted billionaire paedophile. Because of that, public opinion in this country, more than 80% of British citizens, according to a poll, say, I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I'm sorry, King Charles, this is not enough. We actually do want that Act of Parliament that you told us you don't want to bother Parliament with. He said, Parliament's too busy, you know, I don't really want to take up their time with this. Well, the people of this country, the vast, vast majority, want that. They want Andrew properly punished. They want these titles taken away. Your feelings?
I mean, my feelings is that there's no proof that that won't come to fruition. I think Friday's statement was just keeping public anger from a boiling point, knowing that next steps would be that they could strip him formally of his titles through Parliament. I think we need to have more empathy and compassion when we look at the timeline. King Charles isn't going to completely exile his brother, right on the heels of the death of Prince Philip. Quickly after the death of Prince Philip, we lose Queen Elizabeth II. Of course, you're not going to shove your brother off into no man's land after the death of your mother. After the loss of Queen Elizabeth, we discover that Fergie has breast cancer. Of course, the king is not going to say, you know what? We want nothing to do with you in the midst of Fergie's breast cancer. As Fergie's cancer wraps up, we discover the fact that King Charles and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, are both suffering from cancer. This is not just an institution, it's a family. And I imagine that there have been there's a lot of fear that's gone on over the last few years, a lot of grief. And then on top of that, you're trying to show a united front with Harry and Meghan from the United States wreaking absolute havoc. So I have a lot of sympathy for the family because there has been a lot going on behind the scenes that has probably been the cause of King Charles's, his navigation. As he's navigated this, he's had a lot on his heart. It's not just about trying to distance yourself from your brother. It's illness, it's death, it's grief.
Yeah, I'll take that point. So you feel, I think you're right as well. I think there's a direction of travel here. And I do think that the king, and I've got a lot of sympathy for the king, poor guy's battling cancer himself. He's no doubt very worried about Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who's also battling cancer. So, respect and sympathy for the hard time His Majesty has been going through. But he is a guy who likes to kind of try to sweep trouble under the carpet.
So was his mother, and they say that that's why they paid Virginia Giuffre out an enormous, ungodly amount of money so that she could enjoy her platinum jubilee. If we really want to point fingers, I love Queen Elizabeth. She was the greatest monarch that we will ever see in our lifetime. But if we want to point the blame at someone, we have to look at the way that Queen Elizabeth's team ultimately handled Andrew.
A really good point. Absolutely right. I mean, you know, the thing about the royal family, we're seeing it now. We saw it with Her Majesty the Queen. You're right, an amazing sovereign, a woman who reigned over this country for, what was it, about 8 decades or something. Extraordinary, and never put a foot wrong personally. But she, like the King now, like King Charles, their first priority is to preserve the royal brand, to preserve the royal family. And that's why Harry's a problem as well, but that's why Andrew now is being so ruthlessly cut out, because with Andrew in a prominent position, still being seen in public, it's like a cancer. I mean, I use that phrase advisedly for the royal family. It's like a problem. So when the royal family feels that its brand, its image is in danger, it will act very ruthlessly. And I think that the King, although he's been reasonably ruthless, he's thinking, if I can just get the public to accept that Andrew doesn't use these titles anymore, that'll be okay, and then the royal name will not be dragged through the parliamentary mud with this Act of Parliament. Well, I'm afraid that the people are telling the King that's not good enough. And he is going to learn here, I think, that in the end, in this day and age, in 2023, this is a democracy. We respect the King, but we make the rules, we make the laws, we dictate the pace here, not him. And I think that's what's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to get to that point. Prince William does not want to start to build his forever home. He's getting ready to move on the Windsor estate, so close to such a detrimental individual, somebody that brings so much drama and negative attention. My source at Windsor said that there were protesters yesterday near Andrew's home. There were helicopters flying above trying to get shots.
Wow.
That's not the environment. Prince William has fought so hard for his children to have a normal, sane upbringing. He told, Eugene Levy, I'm not going to make the mistakes of my ancestors, my parents, my past. He is focused on his children having a normal, calm upbringing. And you can't do that with Prince Andrew, yards away. Catching Prince Andrew riding horses outside your window. I just don't think that Prince William will settle having such a distraction on the estate, especially as his responsibilities increase.
I'll tell you one thing, or two things, Kinsey. If the King, or if the people of this country and our politicians do not press forward with this proposed Act of Parliament to officially strip Andrew of his titles, if that doesn't happen, when William ascends to the throne, it will happen. And also, I think William will also direct his attentions to Harry and Meghan, who I think he also wants to take their titles away. William, I like William. I think he's a very bright guy. I think he's the cleverest member of the royal family. But he's also got that hard edge that his father doesn't have. And I actually think that is a good thing. He'll do what needs to be done. But you mentioned about the Royal Lodge. We learned this week that Prince Andrew, he lives in this massive, great mansion. Fergie lives there as well. I think it's got about 35 bedrooms or something. It's a huge, magnificent-looking building in the middle of Windsor Great Park, just in the shadow almost of Windsor Castle. As you say, it's also near where the new home where William and Kate will live. But there's been this big move to kick him out, and he's dug his heels in. We learned this week that on this mansion he hasn't paid rent for 22 years. It's massive, you know. He hasn't paid rent. They say he's got a cast iron lease, but the pressure is building. The king, for all his authority, actually cannot sort of override the terms of the lease. But just as Andrew was reluctantly persuaded to give up his titles, do you think that the King and William will succeed in persuading Andrew to finally leave this mansion that the royal family don't want him in, that William and Kate don't want him in, that the British people don't want him in? Do you think his days in the Royal Lodge are numbered?
Yes. And I'm limited as to why. I can tell you why. My answer is yes.
Go on. Yeah.
I do. I'm confident that he won't be there much longer. But what I will say is that to King Charles's credit, he's been trying to push Andrew out of that home and into Frogmore Cottage for years now. He realized that the optics weren't great, having Andrew, a non-working royal, rotting in that 30-bedroom mansion, watching the planes above him go by. And he wanted to move him into Frogmore Cottage to save costs, to kind of keep him out of the fray and to put him away. And Andrew has dug his heels in and refuses to leave because he believes he's entitled to that home as the son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. So I do want to give the king credit for starting these conversations much earlier than we were probably privy to. And it's Prince Andrew's defiance and entitlement that has kept him in Royal Lodge. But I do think that there are reports today in the Express that Fergie's on the verge of a breakdown. I do feel like these two are getting beaten down and just, you know what, we want to be out of everybody's hair. And hopefully of course I would never wish ill on anybody, but hopefully they realize that their actions are harming the royal family more than they're helping them. And they do try to just get out of the way.
There's a lot of feeling in this country, and you know, like I don't care who it is. I don't like to see people in distress and having breakdowns and stuff like this. You know, not even Andrew and Fergie, who sort of deserve it.
Is it David Starkey? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, I think he.
David Starkey has said that he does feel like this is a pile-on, and we're judging Andrew today for past actions on new standards. And I do agree with that argument, but that doesn't change the fact that he lied to us. But I don't love the pile-on.
Yeah, but then again, it's bound to happen. This couple, both of them, for years, decades, have venally cashed in on their royal status to make money out of it. You know, they've let this country down. They've let the royal family down. I don't like a pile-on. I don't like to see people in distress. But, you know, I'm afraid they deserve their fate. Do you think, Kinsey, that when William ascends to the throne, that I think he will. I think he'll go for Harry and Meghan as well, and I think he should. I mean, because
Archie and Lily.
Yeah, why have they even got titles? I don't think have they even been to Britain. That's a joke. So, do you think William will take all their titles away? I do.
I do, and I think it's going to be a clean sweep, so it doesn't look personal, and so Meghan can't cry racism. If he does it in a clean sweep, then it's just like, I'm just trying to clean things up. It's easier to manage, and there's no reason for us to have all of these titles out there in the world. When you are all a reflection of us, whether you're working members or not. So I'm going to nip that in the bud. Go do your thing, have your makeup line, collaborate with Kim Kardashian on panties, do whatever you want to do. But you no longer represent this monarchy. And I think well, I'll tell you right now, I will drink alcohol. for the first time in years if he does that. I will have a glass. I will toast to that decision.
I'll buy you that drink, Kinsey. I promise you that. I have many faults, but I always stand my round. By the way, I wanted to talk to you. You and I discussed the other day that old Meghan, whose as ever business seems to be more and more in the background, attended this weird vegan dinner full of very important American women.
Allegedly, allegedly.
Well, I say one of them was, of course, a British entrepreneur, Emma Grede. So she sort of hosted this thing. It's a vegan dinner. There was a special chef making this veggie feast. And two things I was thinking about it was, how come Meghan was the guest of honour? The last time we saw her, she had a hat.
She wasn't the guest of honor, but the way that she positioned herself in the images, you thought she was. Like, that was one of the big jokes online, was like, Meghan is acting like this party is for her, the way she positions herself. No, it wasn't. She was just a guest.
Yeah, so my thought was, last time we saw her, she had a hand up a dead chicken's backside. I thought, well, that's not very good vegan credentials, is it? And then, of course, there's that famous scene in that awful, boring series with Love Meghan where the chef, Jose Andre, she's standing there watching, and he gets a big lobster out and sort of stabs it to death through the back of the head, and it's live. So she doesn't exactly have fabulous vegan credentials, but there she is, this fabulous feast in this house in the Hollywood Hills, and this meal, this Meteor's Murder meal, is washed down by As Ever Plonk, that Van Ordinaire Rosé and her exciting new range of Sauvignon Blanc. So I think that the wine compared with the food was probably a bit of a letdown. But anyway, there was this circle of self-congratulatory women telling each other how fabulous they were, how brilliant they were. We can just go on to the next level. We are marvellous, aren't we, aren't we, aren't we? Meghan, of course, lapping all this up. She loves to congratulate herself and her friends. Anyway, there's a brilliant restaurant critic here in Britain. I don't know if you're aware of him, but he writes for the Daily Telegraph, a good man called William Sitwell. This is what he wrote about this vegan dinner party. If you haven't read this, you're going to love this. He said, I think I may have witnessed the ghastliest, most grotesque, most vulgar, most shallow, most revolting, most tasteless, most vacuous, and most vainglorious dinner party in history. In short, the worst, because splashed all over Instagram and the like was endless posing before, during and after the party in a circle of self-congratulatory vain adoration. It was all about telling the world they were there and you were not. Well, I think that's brilliant. Meghan will hate that, but I, for one, am very glad that I wasn't there.
Yeah, no, I am too. The fact that Meghan Markle gets in a car basically for 4 hours round trip just so she looks like she has friends. I think that's the takeaway here, that she will sit in a car for 4 hours round trip just so. And the worst part is that there are so many pictures of her like standing around this event by herself, drinking by herself, while all of the other women are in like packs of 2, 3, 4, and 5, and Meghan's alone with her booze in her hand. I feel like it has some pretty deep meaning. I mean, I feel like it's a reflection on it's the same woman that posts that you should be drinking wine for breakfast. Is there something we should be more concerned about, Meghan?
Yeah, which brings us, I guess, to our regular question, or my regular question to you. What's happening with As Ever, her weird online store that tries to flog mundane domestic products to gullible people for astronomical prices? What's the latest on As Ever? We never seem to hear about it anymore, do we?
No, and I just did an interview with the Daily Mail, and they were asking, will she go into makeup? Will she be successful with makeup? I said if she only creates a small inventory so she can manufacture success, perhaps, but I don't think that there's a real interest in Meghan makeup. And I thought to myself, why does she not start small on As Ever with beeswax lip balm. That matches with Love Meghan. That matches some of the products she has already. That she just, nothing she does has any sort of theme or strategy behind it. It's just all over the place. So all of a sudden you're going to start selling high-end makeup. Like, it just, none of it makes sense.
Yeah, she's like a whirling dervish, isn't she? Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and never seems to have
just try to succeed at one thing first.
Show a bit of application. She's got no application, has she?
No.
By the way, my last question to you, we talked earlier about the probability, in my view, that when William ascends to the throne, when he becomes king, and let's hope, by the way, that's not for a long time, because, you know, good luck to King Charles. But when he does, that I think he will take away Harry and Meghan's titles. How do you think that will go down with that famous Montecito social mountaineer, Meghan Markle, when she's no longer the Duchess of Sussex? It's so funny you call me Markle, it's just Sussex now, and all that. She's no longer the Duchess of Sussex, she's just plain old Meghan Markle. How do you think she'll like that?
I think she'll be hostile because she has all of this wardrobe. You know, she was being teased over the weekend while she was in D.C. for running around with a tote bag that had DS on it for Duchess of Sussex in big, bold font. She's constantly trying to remind people that she's the Duchess of Sussex, even though she told Oprah Winfrey that titles and that stuff didn't mean anything to her. It's her entire identity. And somebody made the comment to me this week that maybe DS is more than Duchess of Sussex. Maybe it's creepily Diana Spencer too. Ooh. And I said, oh God, I would not put it past that woman.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I agree. Seems that there are very few depths below which she's not prepared to plumb, as far as I can work out.
But to answer your point, that's where we'll see the mental breakdown. Okay, that's when we'll see.
No, we shouldn't laugh about that. We shouldn't laugh about that. But there would be. You know, it was good. It's good to see Andrew and Fergie get their just desserts, and it would be quite good to see Harry and Meghan get their just desserts. And I'll tell you why. For the British nation, it's showing that accountability is important. That these people.
Well, it's why some of the people over there admire my president.
Yeah.
Because he's finally showing some backbone.
Yes,
our government is finally showing some backbone and saying, you follow the rules or you get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And I think that it's fair to say, King Charles, we want you to say you follow the rules, you don't humiliate the family, or you get the hell out of here and you no longer represent this family.
Absolutely right. Kinsey, fabulous to talk to you. Have a brilliant weekend, and we'll talk again on Monday. That is the amazing Kinsey Schofield, host of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. I think she's coming to Britain, I think, next week, actually, funnily enough. So I'll probably see her then. In fact, I know I will. I'm doing some filming with her. So Kinsey will be over here. Hopefully we'll get her in the studio here. Can see her live on the Political Asylum. Let's go to break. When we come back, got lots of calls. I'm going to read some messages. I don't know if we've got any WhatsApp voice notes, but if we have, we'll play them out. So stick around.
people driving electric cars. And of course, that means fewer people filling their tanks up with petrol. And petrol, the levies on petrol, as your viewers will know, because they're the ones paying it. It's so expensive. That money's going into government. When government loses that money because more people are driving EVs, we do need to think about what the alternative measure looks like. What we want to get to through this cheaper energy commitment is that you make electricity so cheap that your viewers are saying, get me an electric car as quickly as possible.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Just about 25 minutes, we go over to Washington for Harry Cole Saves the West, and at 11 o'clock, Asher Gould and Andre Walker take over the helm of the Good Ship Talk and take you through till 1 a.m. into the small hours. So much still to come. We got just one WhatsApp voice note. I'll play that in a little while. Michelle sent me this message, this text. Never mind synagogues, Kevin. What about churches? This is a Christian country first. Why do we always put every religion before our own? Jewish kids get private security at school, but when a group of British dads patrol their kids' school to keep kids safe, they're labelled vigilantes. I'm sick of it. Well, look, I mean, I understand your sentiments there, but the point is churches do not seem to be any kind of a target. I'm not prioritising synagogues. But, clearly we have a problem with security at synagogues and mosques. It doesn't matter what religion people are or nationality for that matter. People have got a right to pursue their religion in safety. And if we need to provide security to keep people safe, to pursue this legal activity, then I think we have to do it. But churches... I don't think there's a security problem there. I haven't seen any churches, Church of England churches or Catholic churches or any other churches being the target of terrorists or target of bomber attacks. Have you? I haven't. But I take your point, Michelle. I take your point. We do need to look to ourselves a little bit more than we do. We do seem to worry about everybody else more than we worried about ourselves, either culturally, socially, or politically. So, yeah, decent point. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Les in Birmingham. Hello, Les. What would you like to say?
Oh, hello. Hi. Yes. Okay. Right, what I wanted to talk about is the grooming gangs and the subsequent inquiry. And it's been said, and indeed on your programme about an hour back or something like that, is the reason for stalling and delays and what have you is, especially from the MPs, is because they do not want to upset their Muslim constituents.
I think that's that's an element of it, a big element of it, yes. I think there are other factors involved, but yes.
Okay, well, if that is true, I find that absolutely appalling, and I think, this is just going from bad to worse.
Well,
let me tell you why.
Okay, go on.
Okay, because if people of Pakistani heritage are upset by any of the findings of the inquiry, then that is worse than ever. Why should they be upset at all? They should be at top of the list, saying, "Please, we want an inquiry right now. Why did things go wrong? Why were people from our community doing these things?" And not attacking the people trying to find out what went wrong.
I totally agree with you, Les. But I mean, you have to think, though. I mean, the reason for Labour's reticence about holding this very much needed public inquiry, national public inquiry into the rape gang scandal. You know, it is partly that Labour constitutionally hates to in any way upset the Islamic community because it wants the Muslim vote. I mean, you have to ask yourself, why did Keir Starmer recognise Palestine? It wasn't because it's the right thing to do, it's the moral and right. No, it wasn't. It was to please and maybe appease the Muslim community here in Britain so he could get their votes. It's as simple as that. The Islamic community would potentially be upset by this inquiry as well. But you're right. I think most Muslims would be the same as the rest of us. This is a question of basic human justice. Most Muslims, no problem at all with this. Some of them won't like it. Some of them will see it as an attack. The other elements to bear in mind, Les, are the fact that most of these grooming gang horrors, most of this activity unfolded in Labour-run boroughs. Labour local councillors, Labour politicians. And they don't like that. And also Keir Starmer, from 2008 to 2013, during which a lot of the rape gang horror was going on, it wasn't exactly responsible for millions of convictions of rape gang members. In fact, very little activity on that front at all, even though it was going on a massive scale. Only towards the end did Keir Starmer, as the Director of Public Prosecution, start to get to grips with it. He's very fond, Les, of saying, I was the CPP who really confronted the horror of the rape gang scandal. No, he wasn't. He didn't do very much at all. So there are all these elements about which Labour will not emerge. They will not emerge from any kind of inquiry with flying colours. They'll emerge very, very badly. That's why they're kicking the can down the road. That's where they're reluctant to have this. That's why they're trying to change the remit. They don't want this inquiry. They never did, because it'll make them all look bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand, but even so, I just think every person in this country, whether the black, brown, pink, whatever, from Outer Mongolia, Pakistan, wherever it is, should be appalled by what went on, and any sort of cover-up or lack of action during that time should be appalled and should be wanting an inquiry. This is what
I think to address your essential point, Les, I think, the majority of Muslims would absolutely agree with you. This isn't about this is about basic human justice for an estimated 250,000 victims. And most Muslims will not be affronted or upset or furious that the finger of blame is being pointed at the majority of these gang members, who were, as a matter of fact, Muslim men of Pakistani heritage. Most Muslims won't mind about that, but some of them will. And Labour is worried about that noisy minority. It always has been, always will. Les, good point, though. Good point, good call. Thank you very much. Les in Birmingham. Shall we listen to Katie on grooming gangs? This is a WhatsApp voice note.
It is soul-destroying to see that we are struggling to initiate an inquiry into the grooming gangs that centre on the importance of the key issues. Why one sector of our society that we welcomed in has targeted the most vulnerable of our Indigenous population in such a heinous fashion, and why those charged with governance chose to look away rather than protect the primary duty, all for the sake of defending multiculturalism.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying, Katie. I'm not sure it's the overarching issue is a defence of multiculturalism. I think Labour authorities, they do like to please the Islamic community because there are 4 million Muslims live in this country, and most of them the ones who are old enough, of course, tend to vote Labour, and Labour's very, very protective of that. And they don't like to do anything that upsets Muslims. And this inquiry might upset some of them, a minority, a noisy minority. So that's always the story, always the story. Let's talk to Mandy in Felixstowe. Hi, Mandy, what would you like to say?
Good evening, Kevin.
Hi.
Hi. Right. I rang last night and I suggested to Samara and to Pete Barnes that a way to stop this is take away the fishing rights from France.
Well, I don't think it'll be enough, Mandy. I don't think it'll be enough.
Well, surely it'll give us plenty of money back from what we're paying them. They're not doing the duty they're meant to have doing.
Yeah, but if we took away their fishing rights, I mean, do you really think it was that dramatic effect? Do you really think they'd feel that aggrieved that they'd suddenly, you know, start stopping everyone on the beaches, cooperating with us, and really getting to grips with the migrant crisis? I don't trust them for that.
I do, because how I see that is because stupid Starmer has given them 12 years.
Yeah, but the problem, it's not enough. Just saying, oh, we're going to take away your fishing rights. That's not a massive body blow to France. It's not enough. It's not enough. We need, if we want to hit them over our head with something that will really have an effect on them, we're going to have to come up with something better than taking away their fishing rights. I'm not saying that isn't important. I'm not saying it won't have an effect, but it won't have enough of an effect, in my view, Mandy.
Well, one thing for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying doing any harm to them. I'm just saying stopping them. And also, where the doctors' strike is concerned, yes, in the last month, I've just been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So, to have all this rubbish, as to put it politely, is too much. You know, how much are we meant to put up to in this country?
What you mean with this government? I mean, we're under the auspices of the worst government I think I've ever seen, and I'm old enough to have seen quite a few. They're just dreadful. They're just dreadful. That's why my fear about this lot is, I always knew I wouldn't like their politics. I'm not necessarily a Labour-oriented type of a guy. Socialism isn't my thing. So I always knew politically I wouldn't like them. But what worries me more than their politics is their total incompetence. They don't seem to be able to organise a booze up in a brewery. Do you know what I mean?
That's one hell of a polite way of putting it.
Yes, that's right. I could have used that. I could have used the normal form of that phrase, but you know what I mean. Mandy, well, look after yourself, and thank you very much for a good call. Mandy in Felixstowe. Should we get a break? When we come back, we'll talk to more of you on the phone. Get on the phone, 03444 99 1000. Stick around. Stay tuned.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, welcome back. A couple of text messages, WhatsApp messages. This one's from Mike. Jess Phillips said she has stated something at the dispatch box a million times. Mike says, is this stat correct? If not, has she lied at the dispatch box, misled the House? Yeah, that's right. She's a million times. That's an absolute barefaced lie. Sack her. No, seriously, she should be removed from that position. She's let too many people down. This is Amanda in London. Jess Phillips should hang her head in shame, putting her career before the disgusting abuse of our young girls. Absolutely right, totally right. She's been a disappointment. Who's this? This is from Donna, calling me Sully. All right, Sully. Hi. All right, Sully, let's talk this little man. Let's talk about this little man, Sadiq. We're told white children are lying. Big Sadiq Khan is truthful. Big man Khan needs prison. From Donna in Birmingham. All right, Donna. Okay. By the way, I should announce I'm not going to be doing this show tomorrow night. Don't get all conspiratorial. I am doing the mid-morning show tomorrow for Alex Phillips usually does it. You know, Julia Hartley-Brewer does 10 to 1 mid-morning Monday to Thursday. Alex does it on Friday. Well, tomorrow it's your lucky day because it's me. I'll be doing mid-morning. And she's now presenting this show more than I do. My producer, Samara Gill, will be at the helm here. So she'll be on this show, The Political Asylum, from 7 until 9 p.m. With my usual Friday friend, but now Samara's Friday friend, Pete Barnes. And then it'll be my show, What Just Happened? That's on at 9 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Also this week, by the way, as we approach the weekend, I hosted... because Mike Graham is away at the moment, as you know, no need to go into that. I hosted for him, for his show, Plank of the Week. So that'll be on tomorrow night. I think it goes on about 7. I'll find out. I'll let you know. And then 7 o'clock, I haven't been told. So that's on at 7 o'clock, hosted by me, standing in, I'm stressing this, for Mike Graham. Only helping out, you know what I mean? And also my show. Oh God, mighty! It's gonna be got a lot of me tomorrow, haven't you? Poor things. I'll be on at 9 p.m. again with my show, What Just Happened, and then both of those shows go onto YouTube. So as of Saturday morning, you can watch them whenever you want, cherry pick whenever you want, wherever you want on YouTube. So that's what's coming up. Got time now to hopefully take a couple more calls, certainly one more call. Let's talk, maybe two. Let's talk to David in Kidderminster. Hello, David.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What would you like to say?
Obviously, I'm sick of this Labour government, and you just hear something new every single day. And the marches and everything that's gone on, it just don't seem to have any impact. I think the only way that they will see an impact to Keir Starmer and the Labour government is if you call a national strike and actually make the economy even worse. So
interesting, yeah. You mean a coordinated action by all the workers in all the trades and all the industries across the country to send Keir Starmer a message, up with you we will no longer put. Is that the idea, David?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea because obviously we're all looking for a way to try to send Starmer a message, or to try and send a message. You know, we're worried about this government. We can't take much more of this incompetence. I just wonder if push comes to shove, if there'll be enough resolve among the people. You need millions and millions of people to get involved in a general strike, a national strike. But I like the idea, David.
There was 1 million people, or the 30 days at the march that went on in London, and a lot of people that supported it didn't even go. So I can imagine.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know what, we've made our electoral bed. And we've got a lie in it, I'm afraid, that too many people bought the lie that Labour would be the refreshing wind of change that this stagnant nation needed after 14 years of hopeless government by the useless Tories. The trouble is what we ended up with. We were sold a lie. They lied in their campaign, Keir Starmer and the gang. What we ended up with is a Labour government that's even worse than those terrible Tories. It's very worrying. It's very worrying what's coming. I hope somewhere or other we can persuade Keir to do the good thing and step down, take his government where the sun don't shine, but I fear it's unlikely. David, good call though, good to talk. David in Kidderminster. Time now to talk to Marge in Bolton. Hi Marge.
Hello, it's the time I've been on to the show. I'm just saying, I went to the theatre today at Manchester.
Yeah.
To see Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh yeah. How was that? Good?
It was very good, but when we was coming out, there was a lot of demonstrators.
Hey?
To free Palestine.
Oh, you're kidding. What, making a point that it was a Jewish story, isn't it, Fiddler on the Roof?
Which was...
Oh,
it was from 1905.
I know. What they were protesting because there's a sort of Jewish story on in that theatre.
Yeah.
God Almighty.
Yeah.
That's flat.
Kept them back.
Yeah.
But obviously there was the free Palestine, and I was just so disappointed, especially after the Manchester synagogue murders a couple of weeks ago as well, because this is in Manchester as well.
Well, it's. I mean, if you're protesting about a musical, Fiddler on the Roof, which just happens to be a Jewish story. But, I mean, that's not really the point. It's a story. It's a musical. If you're protesting about it because the narrative of that story is Jewish, that's just pure, flat-out Jew hate. That is anti-Semitism in all its horror. It really is, Marge.
Yeah. We were so disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed to hear that. Was it a good production? Did you enjoy it?
It was a very, very good production, and most of the people there enjoyed it thoroughly.
Excellent, excellent. Well, everybody, get yourself... at which theatre is it on?
At Manchester.
All right. Well, everybody get yourself to the Manchester Theatre and go and see Fiddler on the Roof. Marge, I've got to go, but great call. Thank you very much. That's pretty much the end of the show. Harry Cole is next. Stay tuned. And I will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So don't miss a second of that. Bye now.
people driving electric cars. And of course, that means fewer people filling their tanks up with petrol. And petrol, levies on petrol, as your viewers will know, because they're the ones paying it. It's so expensive. That money's going into government. When government loses that money because more people are driving EVs, we do need to